Legends is often cited as the better game, and to many, it's one of the best platformers ever. I do think it's a very good game, but when it comes to which game is better, I'm a bit on the fence with this one. Regarding the story, it's essentially a continuation from where Origins left off. Storytelling isn't as present as it was in Origins, but that's no dig at it because after all, Origins didn't have much of it either. Quick note about the PS Vita version, it launched without the invasion mode, so if you're interested in that, you'll need to perform a title update first. If you're finding the base game to be too easy, apparently this mode is a good alternative. Still have to unlock it though. Legends is considered by many to be a prettier game than Origins. I agree in some aspects. Legends has a painted look while Origins is a bit more in the realm of traditional digital art. One disadvantage to Legends, in my opinion, is that a majority of the game worlds look kinda swampy. Visibly darker too. One of them is actually a swamp, so it gets a pass on that one. Origins was bright and vivid, which is my preference in the matter. I think the soundtrack for both games is great. Origins has a creative, cheery and fun vibe to it, whereas Legends is more cinematic. Subjectivity is a word that often comes to mind here. The flow of Legends is quite different, but not in a way that makes it any worse. To me, Origins felt to be more cohesive. You went through it one world at a time. But in Legends, it doesn't take very long to unlock a majority of them. And while you can go through them one by one like Origins, there isn't any particular reason to do that, especially since the gameplay styles within them are split. I'll elaborate on that shortly. One major difference in gameplay is the absence of Loom Kings, now replaced by the new Loom chaining system. Looms are usually found in trails now. The first one in the chain will be illuminated purple, with a value of 2 looms. After picking it up, the next one in the trail also turns purple, and the next one, and so forth. If you break the chain, the entire set turns into yellow looms with a value of 1. So what's up with them being purple? What happened to red? Feels almost like it's an internal rule to have some sort of inconsistency in every Rayman game. You'll still be breaking open cages, but not to save Electoons, as this time you're freeing Teensies. They're not restricted to cages either, they can also be found attached to sticks. While many of these will be found in secret caves, it's not exclusive this time. Captured Teensies are pretty much everywhere. Less common are the Flying Fist power-ups, which seem to serve as a replacement for Mosquito's levels. Yeah, that little guy's absent from this one. Don't expect too much shmup design here, unless you count back to Origins, another thing we'll discuss later. There's one thing about Rayman Legends that I feel very positively about. It's that there's much less of the unfair trial and error type stuff. A lot of that in Origins came from its momentum, and in Legends, long stretches of momentum-based platforming isn't too common. Well, outside of the rhythm stages. And these are pretty cool. You'll find one in each world, each related to its theme. So the deal is, the game worlds are built up of different challenges. There's the Murphy challenges, on-foot platforming, those aforementioned rhythm stages, a boss, and a rescue mission. Who the heck is Barbara? She's got no real introduction or interaction with the remaining cast. All you get is her short character description. Personally, after all these years, I was expecting more from the Smash Bros. Trophy and Brawlhalla DLC character. Regardless, it's a good thing that the series now has a proper, action-oriented female hero. She's far more combat-trained than the fairies, anyhow. Hopefully the next true Rayman game does more with her character, as she's since become an iconic face in this universe. Or they'll forget about her altogether. After all, that's not uncommon in this series. Much of Legends has a focus on entertaining gimmicks, such as this masked wrestler chasing you, or this cube-shaped infiltration. I like these. But then there are other gimmicks which can take up entire levels. Case in point, the Murphy challenges. These slow the game's pacing down to a crawl, and you must play through the majority of them in order to progress further. In these challenges, you'll be using your finger on screen to interact with the environment. On consoles, this is replaced by button prompts. That sounds kinda boring, but after playing with the touchscreen enough, I started to wonder if I might actually prefer it that way. At first, it's a cool game mechanic, but as these things became more difficult, my fingers started to get in the way of important things on screen. A good example of that is when I had to carry the shield around to protect Glowbox. Doing so made it hard to see what obstacles were ahead of me. I do like that they've implemented use of the gyroscope. Twisting the screen to match real-world gravity makes it feel like you're holding the game world in your hands. It's neat, but I have to be honest, most of these Murphy challenges are slow and just not very fun. This wouldn't be so much of an issue if there weren't so gosh darn many of them. I did enjoy a couple though. That one where you're sneaking around with Glowbox was exciting. In this situation, the intent is to move slowly, so that works in its favor. Each of the game's worlds, besides the final unlockable, plays out the same, even down to the cutscenes. You'll see the magician getting kicked into the ass of a pig constellation 5 times. Perhaps it's just me, but this formula makes it feel like I'm not truly achieving much. It's just a series of checkboxes. To reach the final world, Living Dead Party, you're required to have rescued 400 teensies first. The Living Dead Party is made up of rhythm platformers, and whether that's worth going back to collect 400 teensies or not is up to you. Granted, there is another method of collecting teensies, by scratching lucky tickets. You earn these by completing levels. The player can scratch these tickets by using the touchscreen. Should you score 3 teensy faces, you'll get a teensy. There are other prizes as well, such as looms, and weird creatures that'll give you a free loom every day. And there are also the Back to Origins paintings to unlock. Those give you access to remastered Origins levels. A good slice of the original game is here, but consider that it uses the formula of Legends, so you won't be finding any of those Loom Kings around. Much of Legends bonus content has an addictive vibe to it. I remember around the time of this game's release, up until some years later, I'd actively hear about fans trying to 100% the game and compete in its online challenges. Apparently the server's been having issues as of this summer, but Ubisoft says they're still running, so who knows. Thankfully, you've always got cooperative access via ad hoc multiplayer, and there's also more modern versions of the game which you may want to consider. The Switch version is probably the go-to these days. The Vita version doesn't skimp out on bonus features. That awesome Kung Foot mode is here. It's a chaotic game of soccer, all within the size of your screen. The existing character movesets make this activity a lot of fun. I'd always had a sneaking suspicion over the years that I wouldn't like Legends as much as I did Origins. I was hoping today would prove me wrong. But which game did you like more? Let me know in the comments.